Hi everyone, and welcome back to the True Vine Connection channel. My name is Kim, and I'm glad that you are tuning in again today. And today we are going to do a DIY on this galvanized planter. We are going to paint it with some acrylic paints, and we're going to paint over this writing, and then we're going to add our own sentiment and decorate it. I will give you a overview of everything that we're going to be using, but I will list it in the description box under the video. So we're going to use some acrylic paints, and I have these here. Put them over here. We're going to use some Podge, and also I'm going to use this metallic gold for some trimming. You're going to need some magic markers, permanent markers preferably, some paint brushes and sponges to apply your paints, a paint palette, and I've already put my paints into my palette. I have some stones, two flat back plastic gemstones. We're going to use those. And again, obviously we need the little galvanized planter. I got this one at Dollar General for $1. And we also are going to need either an image to apply to our pot or a sentiment. And I freehand drew this. Handwriting isn't the greatest, but that's okay. We're just having fun today. And I've already cut it out. I wrote it out with pencil and then went over it with a permanent marker. And I also sprayed it with a little bit of holding spray. This is a trick that I learned from Shimmy Dixon. She has her own channel, and she talked about spraying holding spray over your artwork to help set your ink or your paints, especially stuff like markers and watercolors and stuff, so it doesn't move when you want to apply something else. And also, after you've put like Deco Podge, Mod Podge over your images or any of your artwork so that you can seal it, spray after everything has dried. Then you want to spray a little bit of the holding spray over it as well and let that dry, and it'll keep it from being tacky where it'll be sticky, because sometimes, you know, some of these things can with my Podge and all of that can be sticky. Okay, so I've already cut out my sentiment, but before we even get to that, we are going to paint our pot. So I chose to use this light color green here. Let me get it all the way into the frame so you can see it. This light color green, and I'm going to paint over everything with this paint. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I started to go over this with some white paint at first, and then I changed my mind about that, and So we're just going to go over everything, and don't worry about if the writing isn't covered good, because that's where I'm going to apply my sentiment, so it doesn't even matter. So we're going to go over this and paint everything. I'm not going to paint the inside, but I want to put 2 coats of this paint all over my pot, and then I'm going to let it dry, and then I will be right back. Okay, so we are back, and we have finished painting our pot, and it's dry. Got our base coat of this green down, and I like green. I really like green. Now we are going to now attach our sentiment, and I told you before, we're going to place it right over where the other writing was, so we weren't really worried about that being there. All right, we're going to use some I'm going to use some Deco Podge to put it down, and I'm using this brush that came with the little children's paint palettes, watercolor paint palettes. They're good for using to put down stuff with Mod Podge, so you don't ruin your other brushes. You need to just have something dedicated for that. I want to make sure that we got Mod Podge all the way to the edges, and then we are going to position our sentiment and lay it down, and I got a little bit of paint on there, but that's okay. And now I'm going to make sure I'm using an old credit card to make sure that it is burnished down real good. We don't want our edges to lift off. Okay. And so now we have our sentiment on, and make sure you put it on going in the right direction. All right. Next, and we won't let this Podge get away from us because we're going to need it again. The next thing I want to do is I want to use these brushes that we have here, sponges, and I'm going to do some sponging of paint, and I'm going to get me some fresh water over here to do this with. I'm going to wet my sponge a little bit, then I'm going to use it to add some of these paints just kind of randomly all over. Let me get this bag out of here. It's making too much noise. Okay. And I'm going to use one color at a time, so I don't want to. And it's okay if some of it gets on our sentiment as well. It'll give it a nice look. We just don't want to get our colors muddied. So a little bit is okay. And just going all over with that. And then I'm going to get another piece of sponge and I'm going to dampen it just a little bit. And then I'm going to go into my purple, this lavender color, and I'm going to do the same thing. I don't want my paint to be really wet. I just didn't want my sponge to be really dry when I started patterning. Just randomly, we're going all over our planter with it. You can go as heavy or thick. Pick the colors that you like. Make it look pretty and fit your decor, or maybe you plan on giving it to someone. Okay. Now I am going to use some blue, and I don't think I want to put this blue over my sentiment, but we will see. No, I don't want that on there, so I can kind of use my finger to wipe that off. Okay. Use some of the blue. And use a tissue because I want to get that off of there, like that. Okay. And I want to use some of this other blue that I have. Use a drier one to try to wipe it off of my cement because we don't want to make it now we can before we seal this, we can always go back over it. I'm gonna get me a different sponge. Go back over our sentiment with our marker, or you can use a paintbrush and go back over it. Okay, now I think I want to go back with some of this green here. All right, I'm going to finish doing this and then I will be back. Okay, so now we're back and I've finished painting my pot, and I went back over my sentiment. The just shall live by faith, Habakkuk 2 and 4. Went over that with my Sharpie, and now I am going to paint the rim with this metallic gold. So I have this little fine brush here, and then I'm going to go around the rim with it. I'm kind of thinking I want to go with a bigger brush here. Let's see, what do we have? Let me go with this one. Yeah. So I'm going to put this gold around And I'm not being fussy about trying to make it be absolutely neat. Just put my finger in some paint that wasn't completely dry. That's okay. And then we're going to go around the bottom edge as well with this gold. Okay, now that we got our bottom edge all painted in, then we can go around our sentiment with a little gold. And I would just hit it with that a little bit, and then, you know, kind of smudge it out with my fingers. And doesn't have to be perfect. We just want a little touches here and there. Okay. And we are going to let that dry, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now our gold paint has dried, and I hope that you can see this. I don't know if my lighting is right because I'm doing this in somewhat dim light. Okay, hands are a mess right now. Alrighty, so now we are going to add a little bit of decoration. So remember the two little gemstones that I had. I'm going to use one on the I in live for the dot, and dot the I in faith. So I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush to add some Mod Podge there. And then we're going to see if we can get this gemstone on here. And I guess I should have thought about using a different color. You know what? Let me get a different color stone. Okay, I found some pink ones, some pink stones to use instead. And I think that'll do better because we have so much green here. And just to add more green is kind of, I don't know. Okay, trying to, just a moment ago this worked perfect that I could pick up the stone with my brush. Let me see if I can pick it up with my finger. Okay, there we go. And we'll slide that one into place. Okay, now that we've done that, we will let that dry, and then we're going to seal it with some Deco Podge and let it dry and see what our end results are. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back and this is our finished results. I think it turned out okay. Got a fingerprint there that I have to fix. But overall, I think it turned out okay. And I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will try this. And as I said earlier, that I will put in the description box everything that we've used today, the colors that I used, and also I would ask that you think about becoming a subscriber. Click on that subscription button and then go down to the comment section below and then comment I am connected so that we can add you to our True Vine Connection family tree. And we have a big family tree on our wall here, and I'm going to put your name on a little sticky note and add it to our True Vine family tree. And once we have hit 50 subscribers, we're going to have our first True Vine Connection family tree shout out, and I'm going to call your name out, and then we're going to have our very first giveaway. So I'm going to say to you as we close out this video, thank you again for watching, and I ask you to come back and see what else we're going to do. I am going to do a video where we are going to actually use this planter to plant something, and we'll see what that will be in an upcoming video. So until next time, stay safe, be blessed, but most of all, stay connected to True Vine. Bye now.